I was at a party and I introduced myself to a girl and said, I'm Toby. And she said, I know, we've met several times before and you never remember me. And she said, I'm a psychologist and I think you may have a condition called prosopagnosia. I'd heard this word before. I think my brother had mentioned it.
I had already told Toby at that point that I thought I had it, and I also told him that I thought he had it as well. I mean, we take the piss out of each other all the time for the way that kind of affects our lives.
Jason, I don't think I'm out of turn in saying that, has a vagueness, in certain areas, or pretty broad areas, really.
Toby, I would say, has definitely got it to some degree. I wouldn't say he's at the extreme end of the spectrum, but there are constantly people who tell me that he hasn't recognised them.
Looking across here, looking across there. Now close your eyes for me, just close your eyes. Ever since I've been told that I may have prosopagnosia, I can't stop thinking about faces. Love it.
We done?
Over to me, Jace, as you adjust.
Is that why you take photos, so that you can actually remember people's faces?
I've been grabbing people I know and love into my studio to photograph. It's become an obsession. Sit in, Mama. You're still the boss. I don't even know if I have it. I don't know enough about it yet. But in the process, I might even learn something about myself and my family. We're kind of family, we've known each other for a long time.
I always describe you as my stepbrother.
Yeah. I've decided to do an exhibition on this little-known condition. So I've put out a call to people who live with prosopagnosia, and they've kindly agreed to come to the studio today. Well, they're going to tell me their story and let me take their picture. I have no idea what to expect. I'm just looking forward to meeting them.
Hi.
Dorothea.
Hello.
Good to meet you. I'm Toby.
Hi, yes.
Thank you. Thanks so much for coming down.
You're welcome. I'm delighted.
Over our way. So, Dorothea, this is a very exciting project in which I'm kind of learning things as I go. I would love to hear sort of your experience and how it came to be that you sort of realised you had this condition.
I wouldn't say I was aware that I had trouble recognising faces. What I felt was that there was some huge disjunct between me and the world. There was something that I just could not get a grip on. And it was to do with how you connect with the world.
Just glance, keep your head the same, just glance over into the lens, straight over here. Beautiful there.
I'd heard about prosopagnosia as a clinical thing, and then I saw something in New Scientist. It was an article on prosopagnosia, and the article said it had a photograph of a woman and then another woman here, and the caption said, congenital prosopagnosics cannot tell if this is the same person. And I was like, okay, well, is it? And I realised that they're assuming that everyone reading this article can tell whether or not it's the same person, and I can't.
Romina,
hello. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. Come through.
Thank you. So that's when I really started to try to hunt things down, and ended up doing the test with Romina Palermo's group, and going through that test and seeing what a normal person can manage in facial recognition and what I can or can't manage, realising this is it.
So I've been researching faces for around about 20 years now. Prosopagnosia is an inability to be able to recognise familiar faces. In severe cases, it could be friends and family members, and in less severe cases, perhaps then it's somebody that they know but's out of context.
Do you find that you can recognise friends and family easily if they're out of context?
Of course, of course.
Yeah. It's important to remember that prosopagnosia is about an inability to perceive or memorise a face, but it's not about anything to do with names. We estimate that around 1 in 50 Australian adults might have prosopagnosia.
Getting that diagnosis and seeing that result and realising that I have this cognitive condition, not a character failing, but a cognitive condition, that really changed my life a lot.
The face has always been such a huge part of photography as documentation or whether it be in art or, you know, mug shots.
Toby is an incredible photographer, not only because he's technically and creatively brilliant, but he's also incredible with people.
Fantastic. I think that position of a sitter and a viewer is a really interesting dynamic. Something's going to be created and it takes the two of you to do so. I want to see people, every pore. I'm really interested in going right in and shooting subjects with a light that's not always going to be a beauty light. You know, it shows all of our history. That can also counter all of these preconceptions that we have about how we should look.
Hi.
Peter.
Yeah.
Good to meet you. Toby.
Yeah, Toby.
Come through.
Thanks.
Thanks for being a part of the project.
No worries.
Just a little bit tight and just give me, just straight into the lens. I want to turn over this way a little.
Its hair really stuffs me up. Online dating is an absolute nightmare for me. And I went out to a date with a woman once. She was the only woman in the pub. And I walked in and walked straight past her looking for the woman who had hair down to her shoulders because this woman had her hair back in a ponytail. Well, the upside is that you don't prejudge people on their looks all the time. And so faces are sort of irrelevant. All faces are different, but so are all feet and all hands, but you don't recognise people by their feet and hands. I've just never understood why people have this preoccupation with remembering people by their faces. Yep, go ahead. I saw an armed robbery once, and it really amazed me that everyone else was so obsessed about what the guy's face looked like, and no one noticed anything else. But nobody else noticed what kind of gun he had, what sort of shoes he had on, what the car was like, which way he went. All they cared about was his face. That's when I really noticed that other people saw things differently and looked at different things to what I did.
A little? Yeah.
It's funny, this lighting is actually showing you the way that my brain thinks, because I can see your silhouette and your light and your hair and not your face so much.
Well, isn't it?
Some people don't like the term face blindness because they think it means that they can't see the face or they can't get any information out of the face.
I could describe you perfectly well. After a conversation with you, if I had to do a police identikit, I see you perfectly clearly, but I'll have no sense of recognition when I look at you again. That sense of recognising someone takes me over 8 years to develop. And even then, it goes really easily. 3-4 months of not seeing someone, it's like their face kind of melts.
Now square up for me.
So we know for people with prosopagnosia that it impacts on their life. It changes their social interactions. It might have impacts on their job. It might have impacts on how they feel about themselves.
Generally,
I did find it tremendously puzzling through my 20s and 30s. What is it about my personality?
do you know what? It's wonderful. You have such a beauty about you.
This strange thing, if you have an interaction with someone, it goes very nicely, you like them, you're looking forward to seeing them again. You know perfectly well that you're going to meet them again and they're going to be looking at you with that look of hurt and disappointment because you failed to recognise them 10 other times, you know. So even a good interaction with someone becomes a dangerous thing. I grew up in the city, yes.
Listening to Dorothea's story and hearing how it severely affected her life,
Better and better.
comparatively I feel like a fraud.
Do you have a reputation for being vague and artistic?
Oh, yes.
It's a good way to swing it. I wish I'd thought of that. You can put this don't recognise people into different boxes. And vague and artistic, that's a great box to put it in. Because then each time you fail to recognise someone, you're just proving how artistic you are. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's nice there.
I'd like to meet other people that have got this thing and see if they perceive the world the same way that I do, whether they have this intense connection. I don't have a lot of friends. I didn't sort of form friendships as much as other people, possibly because of that lack of superficiality. People start friendships from a superficial perspective.
Okay.
It can be lonely at times. It's lonely at times trying to find people that are as moved by things like the beauty of art and the beauty of music.
Okay. I want you to cover your face. I just want to see, both hands for now, both on the side.
It can be a problem sometimes, but it's just differently abled rather than being disabled, I think.